I'm delighted to be here with you today. My name is Tom Godden. I am an enterprise strategist, director of enterprise strategy here at AWS, and I'm part of a team of former CIOs and CTOs. And we spend time sharing our insights from our experience, but from the thousands of customer engagements we have per year to share with you some best practices. I'm excited to spend a little bit of time with you today to share some of that information so we can dive into some of the insights around generative AI and provide you some practical advice, like on how do you bring this journey to life? After all, we believe we're at a tipping point in history, and maybe that sounds a little bold, maybe perhaps a little bit of a fantasy, but what would you do if you could remove the constraints that are currently holding you back? How would you rethink your company? You know, in 1996, Amazon rewrote the rules for buying books. You know, Amazon changed the way we think about it. In 2006, we rewrote the ways of compute, turning data centers into maybe that legacy traditional model. Maybe they even feel like they're powered by steam-powered, types of data centers. And now we have that on-demand, rich set of services. But what if the sky was no longer the limit? What if the boundaries of possible were removed? With Project Kuiper, we'll be launching over 3,200 low Earth satellites to connect billions of people who do not have access today to reliable connectivity. And what if there was no limits to your imagination? What if you could reimagine the most mundane objects, whether that's a house or a chair or a financial product? Maybe even you could design that new beautiful dress in the industry. This is the promise of generative AI. It's opened up an incredible world of imagination that's empowering people globally. It's empowering every business, every organization to reshape their customer experiences and to accelerate productivity. And it's already inspired a new wave of non-technical builders to get hands-on and experiment in a way that we have not seen in recent history. But there's a problem that we're seeing with many organizations. Scale breaks everything. Those proof of concepts are one thing, but how do you scale these initiatives in a cost-effective way, in a sustainable, secure, reliable way? You see, we've been at this for a while. Nearly 20 years ago, we built this into AWS. It's how we build applications and how we think about this. Cloud solved for this opportunity. Today, I want to dive deeper into how these same disciplines and mindsets that has made AWS that go-to cloud provider can help drive the generative AI solutions that we're looking to as an organization. But what are the characteristics of an AI-driven organization? What do we see? So as my team goes out and we talk to lots of different people, what defines good? What does good look like? We see organizations that are using AI and data to their advantage. They're using it to rapidly innovate, to be creative. Yes, they're using it to drive efficiency, and they're using it to bring personalization at scale to their customers and their employees, and as such, able to develop those new revenue streams and benefit from that ongoing talent advantage. So it sounds good, but how do you unlock that? So although not sequential, if you address each one of these areas, we're optimistic that you can truly transform your organization. So we see organizations, and we've broken this down into 6 areas of focus. And again, not sequential, but we see these things as important. They're all verbs, they're all actions. You need to learn. You need to understand how to build, how to establish the right data strategy and organization, how to lead your people into this, how to act in a responsible way, and finally, how to get going. So let's take a moment. Let's unpack these. Let's talk through these 6 things, and let me share with you some practical advice on what defines good. And this all starts with an understanding of the opportunities ahead of you, fueled by, a little bit of imagination. What excites you? What's possible? It also requires an understanding, most importantly, of what your customers want. What do they need? I see lots of people going, I need a generative AI strategy. No, you don't. You need a business strategy that's informed by generative AI. Put the focus where it belongs. You see, it's an exciting time with the majority of organizations seeing generative AI and a deeper appreciation for technology as ways to accelerate how they work and think about the future differently. But what we see is a fraction of these organizations that we engage with, some of the most progressive ones, but a fraction of them are really adopting that digital way and truly transforming them. And those ones are outpacing their competitors, generating new kinds of products, new revenue growth, new personalization. And it's one of the reasons why technology in general, closely followed by the talent needed to unlock it, has become one of the most frequent cited and enablers of change. You see, at AWS, we believe everyone should have the opportunity to reinvent their organizations and industries. And we've led the way here for many, many years. We have over 100,000 customers of all sizes and industries, achieving great combinations of rich AI and machine learning with investments in building out their prominent solutions and scaling infrastructure in a cost-effective type of way. Today, Amazon SageMaker is the easiest way, and I was excited with some of the announcements this morning from Matt that's bringing even more capabilities to SageMaker, and companies like Intuit, Thomson Reuters, AstraZeneca, Ferrari, 3M, and thousands of others are benefiting from this capability today. Customers are driving solutions across many different areas, and we're seeing those solutions, and it's a common question I get asked: where should I be focusing? We're seeing customers drive solutions in content creation to build ad copies, software development with some of the exciting Amazon Q announcements, data analysis to summarize information in reports, not to replace it, but to summarize it and enable someone to then read that report and glean the information out of it faster. In R&D and being able to develop those exciting new therapeutics, as we saw in Matt's keynote. I come from a genomics company, and that understanding of that protein development, some of the exciting things that we can do with that is absolutely fascinating. We're also seeing it in, well, summarizing those legal documents and contracts that we all still need to have. But let's dive in a little bit more and talk about how generative AI is improving things. And let's look first a little bit at Rufus, at the shopping solution that Amazon has. You heard Andy talk about this a little bit this morning. Rufus is an expert shopping assistant trained on Amazon's product catalog and a variety of information across the web, and it can help answer customer questions on shopping needs and products and comparisons, and help make recommendations and comparatives to help customers with that shopping experience to be able to get to the right solution faster. But we didn't build it because it was cool. It's cool. We built it because customers had a need to be able to help refine that shopping experience. Another area where we're seeing adoption is in content creation. Let's look at an example of how generative AI might be able to help in this content creation in building new product and marketing collateral. Let's say you need to create collateral around a new line of, let's call it a solar bicycle. Just type in a couple of words, keywords about it, and use AWS's generative AI capabilities to generate an image, maybe a description of what that new solar bicycle would be. And based upon your input in a matter of seconds, you'll be able to get this ad copy and this product copy. Now, is this perfect? Is it ready to go? Is it ready to ship? No, but it can help augment that idea, building those ad copies so that people aren't writing from a blank sheet of paper to get to that value faster. You see, foundation models running on AWS can transform that text inputs into a variety of those marketing materials, press releases, internal copy. You can even adapt your content very easily into different styles of different collateral, maybe for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for print in the newspaper. But also you can get into exciting things. Do you want to enhance or upscale blurry photos of your blog posts? You're able to use that and do that with generative AI capabilities on AWS to be able to improve that. I used to watch TV movies where they were like, take the blurry photo of the criminal suspect and enhance it and get the picture of it, and they always, and the computer did it. You're like, it's not real. Yeah, it is. We're seeing exciting things in this, and to help drive some of your imagination on what's possible with other use cases, we built the AI Use Case Explorer. It's a website that you can go to. It's an easy-to-use search tool that allows you to find the right use cases based upon industry, business function, or desired outcome to help get those creative juices flowing, to see what other people are doing in this space as you begin to ideate. Now, use it as inspiration, but don't use it to build it because it's cool. Use it because you also have that need and need it to be solved. Of course, being inspired and picking out the right areas to focus on is important, but ultimately, you got to bring those ideas to life quickly. And remember, scale breaks everything. You got to have the right solution. Like any problem we face, picking the right tool is critical. And many of you have found that throwing together that proof of concept is fairly, well, I don't know if it's easy to do, but it's easier to do. This MacGyver approach to building something rapidly is great. It gets the creative juices flowing. But ultimately, you need to achieve business impact at scale. And to do that, the right tools matter. That's why AWS has made it not just easy to get started with your proof of concept, but to extend the scale of those the same way that we've gone through in building out the world's largest public cloud. We've deliberately invested in areas that differentiate generative AI. It includes that day one focus on security, on resilience, on ethical AI, on that broad choice of tools, that ease of use of those tools, and a singular focus. Again, that singular focus on using it to solve business problems. And we've done this by recognizing customers, you have different needs. Some want to be able to engineer solutions at a deeply technical level. Others want to be able to use tools to quickly enhance their operations. It's the reason why we've innovated at all three layers of the stack. For instance, we continue to have the broadest selection of large language models available through Amazon Bedrock, and we announced even more today. Most recently, we've added the Anthropic Claude models, 3.5 models, the most advanced, sophisticated models that I've been able to experience and to be able to use. We also announced recently the Amazon Custom Model Import solution for Bedrock. In just a few clicks, you can import your language model and benefit from all the same infrastructure and capabilities that we've built inside of Bedrock. It enables that seamless scalability and that ability to adhere to those responsible AI principles and expand your knowledge base to use things like retrieval, augmented generation, and agents without having, again, to worry about that underlying infrastructure. And for those looking to create your own large language models or train machine learning models and create inferences, we are innovating at that most foundational level with the announcement of AWS Trainium releases and Inferentia 2 to help you do that at scale in an economical type of way with an understanding of the importance of doing that in a sustainable way as well. We also have innovation occurring at the top of the stack. For those of the people who want to be able to get to value more immediately, Amazon Q allows you to be able to build solutions and to be able to access your business data in a quick fashion. It respects your organizational priorities and security infrastructure. If you don't have rights to see something outside of Amazon Q, you can't see it inside of Amazon Q. And one is a former CIO that I absolutely love, the efficiencies with Amazon Q Developer. Not only do I love Amazon Q Developer for the benefits that you're able to get from coding standpoint, we saw the migration capabilities, the mainframe, the Java upgrades, the .NET ones. But I like it because it gets the creative juices going for your developers. It gets them experiencing generative AI and thinking, gosh, if I could do that with my job and benefit from using generative AI this way, I wonder how I could help finance maybe do something similar, or how I could help marketing do something similar. It gets the creative juices flowing with those things. So we've innovated and looked at all three layers of this stack and the importance of this stack as we looked at Amazon Q and Amazon Q Developer. But as we evolve, I also want to share with you Amazon Party Rock. I love Amazon Party Rock. It's another example of getting real immediate value, but it's also a way to get your hands on generative AI. This technology, and this is true with any technology, but you learn by doing, but it's so much more true with generative AI. So you, as a leader, should be embodying, using these tools, understanding how you can use them, so that you, as we were hearing from Indra, dive deep, understand, know how to use these things and get into it. And Party Rock is a tool that allows you to build quick applications and to use generative AI. With that, let's take a quick look at the video here on Party Rock.
Describe what you'd like your app to do. Fruit-free recipes. Banana, citrus, and strawberries. Wow, It's a lot easier than what Barbara said.
All right, if grandma can do it, everyone can get into doing it. We believe that generative AI will be embedded into every application, into every user experience going forward. Party Rock is a great way to start playing around and using those models, and again, getting those creative juices flowing. As we move forward, our second recommendation in this space is you gotta find the right balance as you look at the models. Model choice is something that's important. It's a balancing act. It's one of the biggest trade-offs that occurs. With projects, traditionally, we feel as leaders, we're always trading off something faster for something higher cost, maybe a reduced functionality. And the same trade-offs are very real in generative AI. As you begin contemplating it, it's part of the reason why we believe that you will need choice. You need flexibility. The large language model you choose needs to be considered from all of these perspectives of cost, accuracy, and performance. In all likelihood, as one dimension improves, another one might decline. You see, it's a complex topic, and it isn't just about how fast the answers are returned, or about the size of the answer, or the context window that was provided for it, or how much it was presented. In an ideal world, you'd have a highly performant model running in low cost and have highly accurate outputs. We're not there yet, guys. We're still a long ways away from that. But the reality is, depending on the nature of your product, you probably don't need to maximize all three of those. Take a generative AI-enabled customer service application, a chatbot, for example. Customers are unlikely to ask very long questions to it, so your context window is small, and they want a short answer back. They want good quality answers, and you probably want to do this cost effectively. So you can maximize it. You can look at what model provides you that choice. If you're trying to summarize legal documents, it has a different set of considerations. The most important factor might be the accuracy, but now we're going to deal with large context windows and large results, but now it can be slower. I can take more time to do it. You need that flexibility of choice. So understand these models, understand how they work, understand the strategy with the serverless large language model with Bedrock and how that choice is important. You are not going to have one large language model to rule them all. When you're summarizing your internal service records for the maintenance inside of your factory, you probably don't need a large language model trained on Taylor Swift's latest concert tour, much to my daughter's chagrin. You need something that's more purpose-built and specific for that, and you need that choice. And this industry is evolving so fast. You need to be able to understand how to evolve and operate in this. After identifying that right use case, bring together the technical and business experts who understand these trade-offs and are empowered to make decisions. And they can then iteratively test different types of models inside of Amazon Bedrock to be able to understand what the right solution and the right opportunity is. But as we evolve, as we now understand how to build and we look to go forward, you need to establish data as your differentiator. So let me talk to you about a little bit of practical advice as we look at this. In a recent study that came out on data from a CDO study that we did, 93% of organizations agree that data strategy is crucial to getting value out of generative AI. Not a surprise. I don't know what the other 7 were doing. Maybe they misunderstood the question. Should have been 100%. But the important point and takeaway here is 57%, though, believe that they have yet to make the necessary changes to be able to achieve that. People understand the imperative, but haven't made the need to be able to evolve into this, to be able to progress forward inside of this, to embrace these changes. So in order to adapt, in order to evolve, to be able to get into this, we see several capabilities becoming important. You need to have skills around data collection, data cleaning, understanding what your data lineage is. You need to have good control over your documentation and versioning of your data. Your data is as much an asset to the software application that is running as the code itself. And if you aren't versioning and managing it, you will not understand why it behaves different on a Tuesday than it did on a Monday. So you need to get, skilled in understanding how to do this. So our recommendations in this space, the first one, establish a series of tenets. What do you value? Do you value good data? Yes. But inside of that, specifically, what do you value? It's a shared common understanding. It's the bar in which everyone must obtain in order to make sure that we can avoid those hallucinations and those biases inside of this. Create these, for instance, things like govern by enabling, not by restricting. It's common for us to take a position and say, we're not going to share this data. No, get to a point and say, why can't we share this data? Why shouldn't this data be more available by default? Why wouldn't I do that? Have a tenet around reflecting diverse perspectives and data sets in the people curating those data sets. Help everyone move past this to be able to view this in a more responsible type of way. The second one is iteratively improve. A common mistake I see organizations doing is go, okay, I got the message, Tom, we got to get our data right. So the first thing we're going to do is go gather all the data across the enterprise. We're going to get it, clean it, master it, put it in storage, do all these things to it. Gosh, guys, you're going to delay the value. You're going to delay the learning so long. Identify that use case that you need to have. Be able then to get going. Let value be your guide on this. Build the capabilities that you need to solve that one specific problem. Gather the data that you need for just that problem. Add value, iterate, and improve. Pick a couple of these. Let value, again, be your guide. Look at those no-regret decisions. No one's going to regret if you create a data pipeline that's automated. It will benefit you in generative AI and in outside of generative AI. Build those capabilities, build those solutions. As we evolve, the next one is lead. You need to embed a culture of generative AI inside your organization. We've talked through a lot of those foundational elements, but now it's important that we look beyond technology. Let's examine how successful organizations are integrating these large language models into their operations. You see, we believe generative AI won't do our jobs for us. Instead, it's going to help us do our jobs more effectively. We're going to use it to automate, to streamline, to get rid of repetitive tasks, those mundane tasks, to free up time. And as such, generative AI will not replace the need for human talents like creativity, problem solving, relationship building, but hopefully it will make work better for humans. But we got to face facts. Roles, jobs, skills are going to change, and they're going to change in a meaningful way. You see, there's a massive demand for new skills which are, a huge limiting factor in getting things done. The good news is the majority of organizations seem to be looking to reskill or upskill their employees, and I think that's the right path. Thinking that you can go hire that magical AI scientist, that 4-foot-tall left-handed pink unicorn that's out there somewhere. I'm convinced I can find her. And once I find her, she's going to solve all of my problems. Good luck. It's the left-handed part that's hard in finding the unicorn. Instead, invest and build and grow your people. You see, some of these statistics, they can be scary. They can concern people. But instead of trying to hire those unicorns, how do you create a culture of learning inside your organization? It's not just about the technical skills. It's about the cognitive and social emotive skills. It's not an easy thing for managers to do, but you need to look beyond that space and how you can help your people become comfortable as part of this. You see, these managers help create that new space, that comfort space. They help decomplexify the space in which people are operating. In order to create and free up time, look at how you can ask questions. Why do I have this meeting? Why do I require this documentation? In a lot of cases, you need it. You need these meetings. But in other ones, redesign the roles that can help bring creativity for your employees. Start by identifying work that you can eliminate. A day, a week, or more can just be lost through inefficiencies. And then don't just digitize or automate work. Really understand, again, the value of what we're doing. Do we still need to do this process if we could think about doing it in a completely different way? Don't fall in the trap of just repeating what we've done previously as we try to decomplexify. But also take inspiration from HR and finance, how we think about this. A common question I get is, should I centralize my AI team? Should I create a new AI think tank factory to solve all these problems? Or is it everyone's responsibility? Well, the cop-out answer is it's both. But take inspirations from functions such as HR and finance on how organizations should be managed and how they should be structured. As leaders, you understand how this works. Although there's a skill, a center of excellence that's managing your finances, that's managing your HR, you as leaders are still expected to understand finance and HR. You're expected to be proficient and able to conduct, conversations around it. And that same type of model is going to permeate inside of AI. You see, we have this suggestion that you centralize some core capabilities, your AI strategy, maybe your governance, your common infrastructure platform that you have, some of your talent management around it, but then you try to federate, to move all the way out to the edge where people are innovating, where the problems are, those skills and those talents around data science, around understanding how to apply these things to solve specific problems. So again, you want that blend. You want to take inspiration from HR and finance and how they've been able to build those capabilities out. As we look at the third area, you need to help prepare people for new roles. As we see this, the question we get is, what skills does everyone need? Obviously, it's good to understand where to source and where to do these and build some of these skills. But we need to look at our current employees and where they are and what skills they ultimately have. You see, you have a broad set of options to be able to do this. You can retain people, you can upskill people. But it starts with focusing on what are a lot of the skills we believe everyone needs. What is the important, characteristics and capabilities that we have? Whether it's, data or generative AI, we need to ask questions of our people on how to do this. You have a number of options. Recruiting new talent is something that we both need to pay attention to as we deal with attrition, but also to accelerate our organization's learning curve. But we also need to not neglect those, important skills. Not everyone needs to change, but everyone needs to learn. And as leaders, we need to encourage them. Data engineers can be upskilled to add to their capabilities so that they understand multimodal processing, maybe vector database administration. Data scientists can extend their skills. Learning processes can take months, but we need to create an opportunity as leaders to help these people do this. A couple suggestions that I give people, and we can help with a lot of this, is build an AI academy, a training program to help create a dedicated training curriculum covering topics like machine learning fundamentals, AI ethics or governance or hands-on coding labs. But make sure you make it available to everyone. This isn't just about training those 2 people who are going to be in charge of AI. We believe it's going to go everywhere. And as such, identify those talent multipliers that cultivate an ecosystem of AI guides, those subject matter experts that can help guide people as they build these things out, that can help multiply the learnings by sharing their information and key things that they know. Do that through lectures, through workshops, but get people hands-on. Get them hands-on with gamification, with workshops, with courses, and again, much of this that we can help you with. Host those hackathons, those conferences. I saw a company have this AI demo where every Friday afternoon in the break room, they had people come and show the latest skunkworks AI project they were working on. Do you want to deploy those into production? No, probably not. But it helps get the creative juices flowing and showing that's what's going on. You see, we believe that most organizations have the people they need, maybe not just the necessary skills. And again, we can help here. We can help with programs such as learning needs analysis. We have things like AWS Deep Racer, that fully autonomous race car powered machine learning that we've used to train over 320,000 people. We have training and certification courses that you can see up here. Machine Learning University that's available free to many of you. We also announced that AWS AI Machine Learning Scholarship Program back a few years ago. You see, these cultural changes are deeply rooted into your organizational DNA, but so is the responsibility and ethical use of the technology. You see, governments and other associated entities are looking to regulate the generative AI, and this is a good thing. It's an important thing, not just from a safety point of view, but it gives us some stability as an organization. But the sad reality is this is going to take longer than most of us want. But it should not stop us from putting in the right internal controls. And as such, we need to understand how to manage threats and obligations, both old and new. They need to be front and center of you thinking about scaling those new applications. You see numerous challenges, including how to deal with poor training data, how to eliminate perpetual or biases that exist in your organization, how to get rid of some of that abusive content. They need to be understood. You need to understand how to deal with these challenges. And you see a responsible AI program recognizes the threats that will come and the ones that are coming. And they understand how to advance and move forward as part of that. So our recommendation on these things is quite simple. If you haven't built a responsible AI program, build one now. Do not use responsible AI as an excuse to slow things down. Continue experimenting, continual learning as you're building it, but do not deploy it into production until you have a responsible AI program. I wrote a blog on this, and we have a recommendation of several steps to do this. Get that organizational buy-in at the board level. You heard that from Indra. Have an understanding this is not something to delegate and relegate down into your organization. Launch that multidisciplinary team. You need perspective and different views on how to approach this and implement those guardrails. And again, we can help that with guardrails inside of Bedrock. And go beyond that committee, embed this into the culture. This isn't just one group of people that meets every other Tuesday in the back hall room and talks about responsible AI. This is everyone's responsibility. And as such, because it is a living, breathing system, you need to test, 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 test. You got to keep doing it. We got to understand, and you got to stay vigilant on this. It is something that is imperative and responsible for all of us to be able to do. And as such, lean into this. Ensure that you have transparency and explainability in your systems. Prioritize that data privacy and that security. Understand that correct level of legal oversight on these things, and make sure that you are promoting an understanding of this across your entire organization. The second thing on this is you need to understand and manage risk. Lots of organizations I work with are rightfully, concerned. How do I manage, how to operate inside of this? We suggest breaking your risk down into several different levels. At the lowest end, very limited risk. At the top, maybe unacceptable types of risk. Risk that you don't permit and allow people to evolve and iterate and go forward on. And as such, then go through and classify each use case of what you're doing and adopting and put it into this correct risk bucket. It might look something like this. You might evaluate across a couple of these different dimensions of implied fairness and privacy and system security. And you'll look at each one of these use cases and go, they have a different risk profile. Not everything needs to operate at that highest level. Some do, absolutely. But when you're summarizing meeting notes from the last internal meeting that you had, your risk profile is dramatically different than if you're creating protein synthesis for a new, therapeutic. So understand that, classify them, operate inside of that risk type of framework, and then as such, establish guardrails. Have rules on this. Sometimes you're going to need the human in the loop. You're still going to let the computer maybe come up and generate that solution, but you need a person to make the final decision. Some solutions, you're going to have a human on the loop. They're going to be overseeing what's happening. Maybe they're the escalation point on the chatbot, but the chatbot's normally operating on its own. And then you're going to have others, human out of the loop, when you're making recommendations about maybe what next video you should watch on that movie streaming service. The human's out of the loop. But understand that you need to mitigate the risk potentially with multiple different types of how you're operating. As we evolve forward, we also have Amazon guardrails for Bedrock that can help you build out these solutions and to be able to do these things in an effective type of way. And that takes us to the last one. Go, get started. The path ahead won't be easy. Most transformative things are not, but they're worth it. Sure, there will be some challenges, but let this framework be a guide to the top. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate going through and having this conversation and talking through this. Hopefully some of these things inside of this framework have been helpful for you today as we look out and evolve into what's possible inside of this. So again, as we talked about, start with learn. Explore those use cases. Explore what's going on. And when you build, use the right tools. Scale breaks everything. Find the right balance as you look at the type of model and you manage that model. Establish your tenets on how to manage the data and iteratively improve on your data with value as your guide. Lead your teams, help decomplexify, help them be comfortable with these things, and take inspiration on how to organize from HR and finance. Prepare people for their new roles. and then build that responsible AI program. Classify the type of risks that you have and understand the different ways to mitigate the risks. And the final thing is to get going. Everyone, thank you very much for your time here today. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.